It's been 2,000 years since the glorious light of the cross illuminated a world veiled in darkness and confusion about the character of God. And still today, the greatest need of mankind is a revelation of God's love as revealed in the life of Christ. Amazing Facts presents the Everlasting Gospel with Pastor Doug Bachelor. Coming to you each week from Sacramento Central Church in sunny California. Discover hidden treasures in God's Word today.
Is there life on other worlds? And I hope you'll find this inspiring and informative and interesting, but the Bible actually has a lot to say about it, and when I'm done, I hope you realize it does make a difference to you where you are today, the answer to this question. I don't know if you've ever heard of SETI. SETI is a real organization. It's not some secret conspiracy. It's a network of scientists, and SETI is an acronym for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Extraterrestrial means outside of the terrain of our world, otherworldly intelligence, SETI. And they've got these radio telescopes stationed in different parts of the world that are trying to get feedback from space and the cosmos. The biggest of them, it's called and I hope I say this right, it's Arecibo Radio Telescope. It is the biggest parabolic dish in the world, built right into the terrain of this sinkhole, not far, it's about 9 miles from Arecibo, Puerto Rico, and it was built in 1963, at a cost of $9 million back then. It's basically a big parabolic satellite dish that is aimed out into space, and they can move the receiver horn to different locations to change its direction, and they coordinate that along with the rotation of the Earth. It's composed of about 40,000 aluminum panels, and it's 1,000 feet across. It covers the space of 18 acres. I mean, you can't tell from the photograph. You can see this from Google Earth, from space. It's enormous. And the whole purpose of it, for years now, 45 years, it's been aimed at space. They just did a $25 million upgrade on it in 1997, put a reflector upgrade on it, a Gregorian reflector, to try and capture more specifically things that are happening out there. And it has been helpful in science. It's helped them with receiving signals from the Voyagers and from different rovers on different planets. But they've been listening for radio frequencies and patterns that would tell them that there's intelligent life out there. And in 45 years of listening, they've not received any messages or indication that there's intelligent life out there. And I want to thank Jim Burris, who is an astronomy expert. Told him what I was preaching about this week, and he shared some information with me. One thing he said that I thought was thought-provoking: if you took the information that's on one strand of the helix of DNA, one DNA helix band from a human, and sent that signal to these radio receivers, it would be front page news all across the world that there is intelligent life. We're surrounded with evidence in this world, and we've got, what makes them think the angels use the same frequency that we use? That's the assumption. And so some astronomers are wondering, well, how much life is out there? Most astronomers believe there is other intelligent life out there, but they also recognize that our planet is very unique. Earth has perfect conditions for life. There's a video series that talks about the privileged planet. It's been out for several years now. I recommend it. But it talks about how planet Earth, it is so obvious because of its location in the composition. It's all perfect for life. If our planet was just a little bit closer to the sun, nothing would survive. If it was a little further away, if it was a little bigger, the gravitational pull would crush everything. If it was further away, the water would be ice. If it was too close, it would be steam. And just the combination of gases in the atmosphere, the rotation, the orbit, just all of these things, even the moon, all are perfect and necessary to sustain life on this planet. Which makes people wonder, is there anybody else out there? Is there other life out there? I'm intrigued by the history of two very interesting space projects. Well, they really are one. It's called Voyager 1 and 2. These are two spacecraft that were sent in 1977. A lot of you weren't even born then. And they're still going today. They're powered by nuclear batteries that will be good until the year 2025. Now, my question is, if there's an energy crisis today, and if we could make a battery back then in 1977 that's still going today, why don't we start making more stuff out of those batteries? I figure they're probably dangerous, the nuclear batteries, and they may be very expensive, but that's pretty impressive when you think about it. Going since 1977. They took a lot of fascinating pictures swirling through space, and one of them whipped back through by the sun again, picked up some gravitational slingshot power, and shot off. And they've taken pictures of Pluto and Saturn and the rings. They got a picture of the Earth looking back through the rings of Saturn. It's a little bitty dot, almost like a pixel, and it's our planet. Now, these spacecraft, Voyager 1 and 2, have left the solar system. First man-made object to ever leave our solar system. They are drifting off through interstellar space. And they've got on board a gold-plated audio-visual disc that has pictures of Earth and sounds from Earth. They've got whales calling, and they've got a baby crying, and I hope they put an intelligible message on there besides just that. But in case aliens should happen to retrieve them, if they're not intercepted, in just, 25 trillion miles from now, they'll pass the star Sirius. Of course, that will be in 296,000 years. So I don't know if anyone here will be aware of that. Maybe up in heaven. Wouldn't that be something if you're going through space and all of a sudden you go by and you say, oh, there goes the Voyager. Look like that. About 25,000 million years from now. And that's, of course, that was one of the earlier missions, very interesting. And then, of course, we had the Mars rovers, wanting to know maybe we could transfer life to Mars because we're worried about global warming here. And so they've sent up a number of rovers. A couple have crashed and burned, but they got a couple that have been successful, one called Spirit. And I've actually got a picture there of a Spirit that was taken this year. They're still sending back pictures of what's going on Mars, and they drive the eke along a few inches, and they snap these pictures and send them back. And it takes a long time to get the pictures to our planet. But when you look at that picture up there, I don't know what you think, but I almost expect a rabbit to go hopping across. It looks a lot like Nevada, doesn't it? We spent millions and millions of dollars to get those pictures that probably were just taken in Nevada, and they tell us that it came from Mars. No, I believe it. I'm not one of those conspiracy people. But I'm fascinated by space exploration, and I've told people more than one time on TV and radio, hoping somebody who works with NASA will hear me say it, I'd love to be the first pastor in space if they haven't had one already. That would be a lot of fun. And you better do something about it quick before I get too old to pass the physical. So if you know anybody. But when we talk about doing exploration in our space, in our solar system, what you really got is a person who wants to explore the world. Picture, if you will, someone who they're in bed and they've decided to explore the world. And so as they're preparing for their first day of exploring the world, before they get out of bed, they decide to scratch their nose. Their scratching their nose is going even farther than we go when we explore our solar system. They haven't even gotten out of bed. They're just scratching their nose. And they've gone farther in exploring the world than we go in exploring the cosmos when we go to our solar system. We haven't gone anywhere yet. Our solar system is very small when you consider the scope of space.